Hey everyone, welcome to my new podcast, The Random Talks. I haven't worked out the name yet. We'll figure that out in the future. But as you may know, I haven't done a Animal Crossing video in a long time, and it's mostly because I've been bored, and that's kind of the conversation that you're going to hear in this podcast is we have been getting bored with the updates. With the updates becoming more scarce, we're kind of getting bored with what's coming out, and it's starting to lead the game to die off. So I decided to completely restart my island. I will still have my storage in my house with all my items, but I'm not going to have any items outside. I'm not going to have any mountains. I will keep my rivers just because they were there from the beginning and they look good for where they're at. But I will take off the cliffs and the rivers on top of the cliffs, and it's just going to be flat green. There's going to be nothing on my island anymore, not trees, not flowers, not anything. And I wanted to do that because I kind of lost my spark of creativity, and I couldn't think of how I could change my island without me not liking it. So I'm clearing off my entire island, and that's kind of what you're going to see in the background of this video, is me clearing off the island and removing everything. It'll be kind of time-lapse, more like sped up, just so you guys can see the progress, but it'll also be covered by Jaybee and Millie and me. We're going to be doing the podcast together. They're really awesome. They do great content. They do their own podcast, so go check that out on their channel. I'll put their link in the description. They do gameplays, and they do the podcast, and they do like multiplayer games together. They're a duo channel. I thought it was the coolest thing when I heard about that. It makes them, you'll hear in the podcast. I'll talk about them in the podcast, but I have them joining me while the gameplay is in the background. I really hope you do enjoy this podcast. Let me know down in the comments. While we're here for the premiere as well, let me know what you think is going to be talked about in the video. Let's go. Also, I wanted to say before we start, congratulations on 1,000 subs.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like it was, we were so excited, but we're like so nervous. We usually don't announce milestones until we're like 5 over the mark, so we're a bit scared.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get up there. That's why I wanted a group of content creators too to hang out with. Right now I got like Amy, you guys, Snake City, and then the Real Tot, and those people are the ones that I would like go to right away if I ever wanted to do a collab. But I want to create a bigger net.
That's
That way,
awesome.
yeah, we should all create a bigger net. I think it'd be fun, so we could all like collab it whenever we can.
Yeah.
I would love that, and we've got loads of different projects that we're wanting to organize some collabs on. Like, we did like a Trivial Pursuit thing, and we've still got loads of questions from that. I want to do another one of them. I wish that there was a way to do more like Minecrafty stuff in Animal Crossing. Like, I would love to do like an Animal Crossing Hunger Games. Like, I don't know quite what like the method would be of killing people would be, but
Yeah, we came up with this concept where if we wanted to do an island tour of a certain theme and we couldn't find it, we were going to make it ourselves. So I really wanted to do a Hunger Games island tour, and I couldn't find a Hunger Games island, so we just made one. And now JB wanted to do a Great Gatsby island tour, and we couldn't find one of those either, so we started work on one of those.
That is awesome. You guys are creative. I'm gonna be honest. You guys are so creative.
thank you.
All right.
But you two, and I think we did do an Among Us together a while ago, didn't we?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was so long ago.
It feels like that. See, breaking down like doing YouTube, it feels like there's almost like distinctive eras, like when something's popular or when some series is going on, and that very much feels like a great kind of era that I miss. But
you just basically have to follow the trend when you're a YouTuber. Yeah.
We should have really done something for the new airship map, but
I know. I tried to get people on too in the chat. I didn't want to at everyone too many times, so I only did it like once. I was scared to keep doing it.
I've got no shame with that. I'm just there spamming people like, come on.
Yeah, let's
go. It's happening. Oh my lord.
So the main topic of what we're gonna talk to is like Animal Crossing, because as you know, it has kind of shifted to like dying, and E3 might be
Yeah.
the only revival for it. It's not dead completely, but it is at that point where it's kind of shifting to being boring because everybody has done the max.
Yeah. Mm,
Uh,
I agree with that.
Before I wanted to start, I wanted to ask about you guys. So, what's your main content for your guys' channel?
You know what? I don't know. I'd just say variety Nintendo. I guess it's whatever's new and whatever we're enjoying. So now I would consider the things that I would like to upload more and the things that I'd like to focus on is a cross between Pokemon Snap and Miitopia. Like Miitopia, I'm enjoying that.
I'd say variety for sure. Like I love that you guys do variety because I'm also a variety, and I understand why people stick to one game because a lot more people will stick around because they want to see that game. But it scares me because then nobody will accept you like for other videos and stuff.
Yeah,
It
like
scares me.
we're a variety channel, and whenever we do something that isn't Animal Crossing, we still get that kind of backlash from it. So
Yeah.
it's like thinking about some creators, like we know Console Cater, who's literally built 50,000 subscribers purely from Animal Crossing. Just thinking about like how nerve-wracking it must be for say them to venture out of Animal Crossing, which I think they've only done once, is like I do not envy that whatsoever.
No, I think, the issue is like, you were saying Animal Crossing is dying out right now, and if it's purely an Animal Crossing channel, which maybe it almost was at one point, it's nerve-wracking because Animal
You kinda
Crossing's
die
on a
with
bit of
the
a
game.
downward spiral.
Yeah, it's you looking for a new channel, like a new game that will support your channel like Animal Crossing did. uh
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to know, how did you guys meet?
We were on the same university course. We were both studying law. So we both had a mutual friend on the course who introduced us.
But I was rejected like a good 6, 7 times.
Thanks for that, Jaybee.
What the heck, Millie? I feel you on
Well,
that one. Me too with mine.
my introduction to JB was the friend literally just said, "Don't you two make me a third wheel?" So I just laughed, and he
No,
classed that as a
that
rejection.
was a rejection. I like fun day.
But yeah, that was like 4 years ago, nearly.
Yeah, before I didn't have grey hair back then.
You don't know.
No, but that one grey hair goes in the back of my hair,
Me too.
and
You
you
like
pull it
look yourself
out.
in the mirror and you could see the little tiny gray hairs coming. You're like, am I that stressed?
Oh,
Also, what made you
oh.
guys decide to do your channel together?
JB had a YouTube channel before this one when he was quite a lot younger, so he already knew about YouTube, I guess. And then when the pandemic hit, I think we were both a bit bored, and he had a friend that did YouTube that was like, "Oh, just come and do a podcast with me." And I think that maybe made you want to start a second channel. So this channel was originally just called JB, I want to
Yeah,
say.
the videos. I mean, I'm not saying that we make like a magnum opus of like fantastic 5-star things necessarily. I mean, some of them I like a lot. But back then it was literally just a phone aimed at a TV on a tripod with no voiceover and like royalty-free music just playing in the background. And I look back at that, and to me that's kind of awful. But I would never delete those videos just
No.
because they're just
It's
I
the
don't know, I like it.
memories.
There's something about
It's
them.
the
Yeah.
memories. I feel you.
So
Me
you
too.
started doing Mario Kart, right? And
Yeah.
then
And then
I
first
joined
voiceover
in.
we did together was Mario Party.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was so
So it became the JB and Millie channel after about 2 months, I think.
And that was to be fair, the first JB and Millie video was Animal Crossing, and then we did like 50 island tours in a
Yeah.
row daily.
Well, let me tell you, it was a genius idea to do a mixed channel. I think it's one of the more unique channels out there because of that. So I like what you guys are doing with your channel.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That's awesome. Aw.
What got you guys into Animal Crossing in the first place?
Again, I think the pandemic. We just as the pandemic was starting and they announced the first lockdown, we were like, okay, we need to go and do a shop of something that's going to keep us occupied because we were just students. We'd just been told that we weren't going to be able to go into university and we were going to have to learn from home. So we were like, okay, this is it. We're not going to be leaving the house for a few months. What's just come out? What can we do? And neither one of us had played Animal Crossing before. This New Horizons was our first game. So we just looked at what had been released and we were like, okay, we'll try this. And it was amazing.
So
Like, we
New
found
Horizons was
ourselves
your first game?
setting alarms in the morning.
Yeah, the first Animal Crossing game.
Yeah.
Besides that, it was just Animal Crossing mini games for me and like the Wii U, like the party games that I didn't really understand.
So I didn't mean to cut you off. You set alarms for the morning?
Yeah, we used to set alarms for like Sunday mornings to buy turnips and to make sure we got to check the morning turnip price.
Yes, you guys were fully into it.
Yeah. We didn't time travel once, so it was very much okay, we need to set an alarm for this. We need to be awake to check this.
I'm with you on that. For when I started, I was full in. Play it how it was made, and then once it started dying out, that's when I started cheating and time traveling and stuff.
Yeah. Like, I will admit, I've not played the last 4 updates. I don't, maybe 3 updates.
Ooh,
Not
me
since
neither.
Pave, so I'm just relying that when I want to do them, I can time travel back.
Oh.
What?
I was just having a little gander at Random's channel. I mean,
Uh-oh.
actually, that's a question that I have for you. What would you like to be called? Because whenever I'm like talking about you and your channel, you know, in terms of Among Us and people that we know, I always just say, "Oh yeah, Random." But like, do you prefer Random Square, or do you have like another alias? You know.
Random's perfect, honestly. Everyone has called me that since the beginning. I actually like Random more than the full name Random Square, but Random Square was my original, and I can't get rid of that. So Random is my preferred one.
Oh,
Good.
that's good. I'm glad that I got it right. But I just like jumped for a minute there because I saw that this was Party Chat, that Mario Party series.
Yeah, we just
And I
started that
remember
series, me and
seeing
Snake.
this, yeah, when it popped up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a cool idea. Like, and obviously it utilizes some of the new functionality, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, me 4 or 5 months ago, that was kind of like more on it, more like I guess energetic. Maybe I've aged. That's exactly the type of thing that I would have wanted to have done, and it's like this is so cool.
Yeah,
That's
props to
awesome.
Snake on that one. He's the one that had the idea. I think Alpharad did that as well. He called his uh I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like it was his podcast version, and they would play Mario Party at the same time. But they ended that so long ago, and it was like the older Mario parties, not the brand new ones. So Snake was like, "Hey, let's try this out," and I'm like, "That's a genius idea. That'll give us like utilization of this genre of games, and also have good talks with other people." And that's what inspired me to
That's
do this
amazing.
one. Yeah, because right, the background video of this is gonna be me completely destroying my island. So that's why I was like, I need something other than music because it's gonna be boring. Like I might as well do a podcast.
Yeah.
Snake inspired me.
See, I like that a lot. That takes me back to the old days of our podcast Five Star Talk when we literally set up a studio within the game.
Yeah, it was the attic of your house.
And it wasn't even that it was like compelling, like, you know, visuals, like there was something going on, but just like when like I'd say something that amused me in real life and then I made like my character in this studio do like a little like clapping emote. I don't know. I just miss those days.
Those are so cute. I gotta say, I loved when people utilized Animal Crossing for podcasts and stuff, where they would kind of move their character when they're talking or something like that. I seen that for Nintendo, like the Nintendo Treehouse when they were doing that. It was so cute because they couldn't do a podcast in person or like a Treehouse talk in person, so they did it over Animal Crossing.
Yeah, they did so many cool things, like just people in general, like graduation ceremonies, date trips to the museum. Oh,
Yeah.
We even saw on Twitter that there was a proposal on an Animal Crossing island.
yeah, and that's all right. That's all right.
Oh yeah, and they had a whole like a whole marriage thing going on there too, right? Like they married through
Yeah,
Animal Crossing.
I think that I think it was a couple and they each had their own island. And one of them had kind of set up a celestial area. It was supposed to be shooting stars and stuff.
Would that be binding?
And I don't know.
Like if you had like a, well, I don't know who it is, a priest or a vicar in like a Nintendo online call, could you legit?
Providing you invite them to the island and they've used custom designs to make the right outfit, Jaybee, I'm sure.
Oh no, 'cause you have to sign papers, don't you? I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I thought you could just get some like anointed person into a group chat. Although someone's gonna do that online at some point. There must have been one online wedding at some point. I refuse
I bet
to
you
believe
there
that
was.
hasn't.
I think there was.
Yeah, like now you've got DocuSign and stuff. You
Oh
don't have
yeah,
to be there
DocuSign.
to.
Well,
Yeah.
how do people marry like these mail order brides? Do they bring them over then marry them, or do they marry them online?
Typically, you would. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried.
Oh my god.
Well, I guess that's something for the future for you guys, huh? Huh?
Oh my god.
I was gonna
Doesn't
ask
already
you
happen. Be the
guys.
first couple.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you guys if it measured up to the previous Animal Crossings, but you said this was your first Animal Crossing game that you've started. Do you guys know about the other ones, like New Leaf and the original and City Folk and all that?
We tried to work backwards. So when we liked Animal Crossing New Horizons so much, we were like, okay, everyone's been talking about how the other games were better, how there was more NPCs. Let's check them out. So I think we bought New Leaf next, I want to say.
Yeah, whichever one was on the 3DS.
And we started playing that, but I think, and we have a friend called Holly Q who collects games, and she said as well, it is so difficult to go backwards because obviously if you're going forwards, the graphics progress, whereas to then have to go back, it actually is quite a few stages different.
Oh yeah, it's a huge
So
difference.
I think we didn't play it too much.
Well,
no, not at all, not at all.
They, in terms of Animal Crossing New Horizons versus New Leaf, I think people are right. They did have a lot more buildings, they had a lot more NPCs around, but the fact that New Horizons allows you to build anywhere you want on your island, it's a complete step up from all the older ones. I do think if New Horizons added these buildings and NPCs and stuff, it would definitely put them ahead of all the other games, but because of the building, I still think they're still ahead. Because you could put your couch outside. You couldn't do that before. You had to put a custom design outside just to make it look like something else, which you still can in New Horizons, but it was harder back in New Leaf.
I mean, I will say that I did feel very limited. So, for a while, to cure Animal Crossing burnout on the channel, we did a kind of short-lived, hoping to revive it, Minecraft series. It was like a multiplayer Let's Play, and thinking about going crazy, making loads of those videos, then thinking about what we were gonna do on our next Animal Crossing island, it was like, oh yeah, we can do this, and then it was that kind of realization, yeah, oh yeah, that's kind of Minecraft I'm thinking of. We can't actually do that in Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a bit disappointing. Just being reminded about some more other like creative games and how for all terraforming is awesome, you can't really do everything that's in your mind necessarily.
I mean, I couldn't imagine Animal Crossing without terraforming. Like,
Yeah.
some of the things you see on Twitter are genuine works of art. They're stunning, and you couldn't do that without terraforming.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen ones that's like a full, like, Italian town in one screenshot with waterfalls and then the custom panels made to look like windows and balconies. Stunning.
Yes, people with their custom designs are insane. I love the designs that people are able to make on that small, tiny like canvas that you're given. Amy,
I'll never
Amy was the
know.
first person that did something like New York buildings or London buildings, like city buildings, where she would take like the empty wall and design it like a house, and then use terraforming to build higher, so it looks like it's a bigger building than it is. And I thought that was genius. That was such a smart idea. And that was the first time I was
It is.
introduced that you using terraforming for different types of styles of building.
I will never know how people get what they do from those few squares because whenever I try to do pixel art, it just looks like circles and squares. It doesn't look like it's supposed to. So I don't know. I've tried Googling like pixel art, and there was one thing we were doing for a Nightmare Before Christmas theme, and I managed to find a turkey pixel art, but it consisted of counting squares for an hour. Like, okay, 3 squares along,
Oh
10
no.
squares down, that's red. 4 along, 11 down, that's brown. And I was honestly doing that for about an hour to get this custom design.
I feel you. I had to do that on apples and stuff like that for my tree garden. That's it's fun when you get it done, but it is task like a very long task when you're doing it.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite updates would have been when you were able to get the kind of searching for custom designs through the app, just like, okay, apples or oranges, for example, if you're doing an orchard.
I actually didn't even know they had that
Oh
update.
yeah. Like you mean instead of going into the Able Sisters?
Yeah, I think they did, didn't they?
Yes, 1,000,000%. And I actually kind of feel very lazy because like that was another reason why I loved like the Mario update with the warp pipe because I was too lazy to walk from A to B in like a video game.
When we
Yes.
first got that game, Jaybee used to bully me so badly for that because we share an island, we always have, and I used to leave it such a mess because I was like, I'm not walking across to the other side of the island to deal with this. Like, I'm leaving it there. He was like, pick up after yourself.
It's because I'd just
No.
come out of my house and there was like a lot of turnips just like everywhere. Like, what is this? You're a litter bug.
So I didn't want to walk back home after I'd seen Daisy May. I'm not doing it.
Oh man, before in New Leaf, you'd be able to set ordinance to where you could set whether or not your like island was a clean island, a rich island, and stuff like that. So if it was a clean island, I think the animals would pick up the trash on the ground and get rid of them. Or if there's a watering, I like kind of ordinate, they would water your flowers for you. And there was the rich ordinate where everything was cheaper. That
I can't imagine that now because there is so many islands that have like utilized garbage and weeds and all that kind
yeah.
of thing, and they make it look amazing.
Honestly, yeah, I've seen one where it's like a wasteland, and they give you such good like ingredients to make that because you remember they had like garbage bags and tires and stuff that you could make into
Yeah,
other stuff. It was so cool.
it is
It's
amazing. Like, could you imagine if there was that functionality now where, you set up this gorgeous terraformed wasteland, it's taken you 3 hours on stream, and then your villager decides to tidy up for you ready for the next day and you log back on. Oh,
and
that'd
there
be
goes your
awful.
weeds. Maybe that's why they didn't add it. They wanted to add more creative freedom.
Yeah.
What were your guys' favorite holidays for New Horizons?
Ooh. JB, do you want to take this first?
Oh, so I've got. Well, I guess I'll just nail it down to one. A part of me is kind of thinking maybe Halloween.
Wait, you always say festival for the new items, and I was gonna say
Yeah, but
Halloween.
okay, no, Festival would be my favorite if you could have got the DIY afterwards. The fact
Yeah.
that you couldn't is just like it's teasing me. And I've got like my opinions on Halloween that like the best item you literally can't unlock until Halloween night, and that's kind of like, well, why do that? But I just love the atmosphere because for all like Jingle coming on Toy Day was kind of all good. You had the kind of like Jingle Bells song, just
Yeah.
something about Jack being there and that kind of eerie, that like do 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 do. It just set the
Yeah.
tone so well, and I just wish that I could like mentally go back to that level of Animal Crossing because I feel like that was when I was at like my most passionate for it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with JB in saying Halloween because I think the reason I love Christmas, but the reason I didn't like Toy Day, it was Jingle was there for an hour and there wasn't really much more to it. Same with
Mm.
Festival. Pave was just there for the day and then it was over.
Yeah.
Whereas with Halloween, I was wanting to log on every like few hours, run around all my villagers' houses, see who was crafting what DIY. We transformed the entire island, so using the water landscaping feature, we managed to make a pumpkin on the island and have an islander's house in the middle of the pumpkin. We made a pumpkin flower art with the orange windflowers. It was a good time.
Yeah, Halloween was a great one, especially because like you could change the color of your face to like a zombie-fied. Do you remember that? That one was
Yeah, like
awesome.
that update was so much more than just a few more items. There was the reactions. I think it was when we first saw new reactions, wasn't it?
Yeah, the new reactions. There was a
Yes,
whole bunch. You
yeah.
could scare people. I loved them.
Yeah, those new eye colors, new skin tones. It was great.
Oh man, this is like now that we're kind of going back, this is like reminding me of how I felt about Breath of the Wild. You kind of get a nostalgia for it. It's like the creation of nostalgia. You're in the moment of your nostalgia. Later on you'll look back at this and miss what you had, you know? I always
Yeah, I
think
kind of
about
feel
that.
bad that this. It's kind of awkward though, just thinking back about when all I could think about was playing Animal Crossing, making Animal Crossing content, and enjoying it. I don't know. It's kind of sad thinking about where my mindset's at with it more now. But
Like I think the Animal Crossing cartridge must be dusty at this point. It's been there for a month or so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
why people
the
are trying to bring it
community is what
back.
makes it good.
Yeah, the community really sets it up. Having fun with your friends and stuff like that. I agree with that completely, JB.
Like, just like, I don't know, and I kind of feel like it almost shows, not necessarily desperation, but it shows how attached people are to Animal Crossing when, even if you're at like your most bored, or even when we're like completely sick to death of the game, it's okay. We are actively going to sit down and like pour hours into making like trivia games to make like some type of Trivial Pursuit thing in the
Hmm.
game, or we're gonna come up with some like hot pepper challenge to do a dreamy hunt, like an islander hunt.
Yeah.
So I do feel that we're starting to find a way to make the game more interesting in ourselves, but in terms of the game in general, I don't know, but I don't think it's too late for them to add stuff.
Yeah, and with E3 coming around the corner, but that's later. That's later. We'll get to that part. Do you think the pandemic played a part on how famous it is?
Yeah, I think a lot of people just wanted to be able to get outside when they couldn't. So in this game, you were able to just run around, be outside. Almost people became quite obsessed with being able to interact with their villagers because you couldn't go out and see people. So I guess they wanted to do that as well. Um, a lot of people had a lot of free time. Like we said, the only reason we picked this game up was because we knew we needed something to do.
Mm-hmm.
And this had just been released. And I feel like there'll have been a lot of people in the same position. Like, okay, I need something to do. And I almost feel like Animal Crossing kind of dying out a little bit has been correlated with the pandemic, like the lockdowns and things easing, because as JB said, it was all about a community. And so people
Yeah.
would be like, okay, well, let's host this event. Whereas now people are like, okay, I'm going back to work. I'm able to go out for a meal with my friends. It's less of, okay, I'm going to head online to see who wants to play.
Yeah, it does
Yeah, I
play
mean,
that social part.
there must have been something about Animal Crossing specifically, though, that would have made it more popular during the pandemic. Because people always say, it blew up in popularity because people wanted something new to play, and that was kind of the only thing coming out. But literally, I think either on that same day or maybe a week before, we saw the release of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX, a game that I actually really, really loved, and I kind of want to get back into it. But it's like Pokemon is extremely popular. Like we've seen people, maybe scalpers, literally like rugby tackle each other in like Walmart to get their hands on a few packs of Pokemon cards. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, why did Animal Crossing see so much success and leave Mystery Dungeon very much as the kind of one that was overlooked? And I kind of feel that maybe a part of it was that we didn't see, and I think I don't know when the last Animal Crossing game that released before New Horizons was, but I think that a lot of releases up, before this were disappointing ones. Like people didn't really like Amiibo Festival. So I think a part of nostalgia, to be honest, plays a factor in it. I'm not sure if it's just entirely the pandemic.
Yeah, I think the pandemic helped, but nostalgia especially because they did release, I
Yeah.
think, New Leaf in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. No, let me make sure I got this right because I don't want to say that and then me be wrong. It got released in 2012. Ooh, way before, way
Oh
before.
my gosh.
So there was an opening for like when they like Animal Crossing content, like you said, the board game that they came out with. I don't. What was the name of it again? I forgot. It was for the Wii U.
Amiibo Festival.
Amiibo Festival. There we go.
Yeah.
It was
And
Amiibo Festival, but you had to have so many additional
Amiibos.
things to make use of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Amiibo.
it wasn't what people wanted. People wanted an Animal Crossing game, and that just wasn't it. It was like a Mario Party kind of game. And every console that Nintendo released, they released an Animal Crossing. So when the Wii U did not have that, people were pretty upset about that. So the Switch coming out, everybody knew it was coming, and the nostalgia played a huge part in that because they were like, it's coming finally, Like we skipped a console, it needs to be out now. Everybody's waiting for this. But New Leaf did hold a lot of people over because it was such a good game. Like there was a lot more to do, but it also died out just like New Horizons. But yeah, I agree with both of you guys.
Yeah.
I think both of them played a really good role in it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors that just came together at the right time to just make that work. And honestly, I don't think the next Animal Crossing game that they come out with is going to be nearly as popular, but I don't know. I can see a lot of people, like an Animal Crossing game, say the fifth release, in the future, being the one to maybe bring it back up because I think obviously, like we've said before, nostalgia really does sell things,
Mm-hmm.
and so for people that maybe were in their final year of school during the pandemic that relied on Animal Crossing, maybe when they get to an age where they're getting a bit nostalgic and stuff, they pick up the most recent game and then people go on this. Oh, remember 20 like
Yeah.
19,
I mean,
20.
I think it's fair to say that we know more people over the age of 25 that play the game than under 25.
It'd be a bit weird if we knew a lot of.
Okay, but people that we've become
Yeah,
associated with
I'd
through
say so.
Twitter and the channel and that kind of thing.
Definitely.
Like, we've definitely met more people over 25 that are like, oh yeah, I love Animal Crossing. I played it as a child and that's why I've got this game.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming out on the Switch. I waited till it did to get the Animal Crossing Switch. I wanted to get the Animal Crossing Wii U, but it was a flop. Like, they didn't make one. They didn't make the most of Animal Crossing on that console, all that kind of thing.
I mean, I'm nostalgic for New
Right.
Horizons now, and it's not even fallen off completely
Yeah,
yet.
I mean, speaking about Halloween was like making me very nostalgic for the game. Just like, oh, Miss been like that.
It brings that
And I
spark
don't,
back.
yeah, I don't know what made me move so far away from the game as I have, but just speaking about Halloween, I was just like, oh, I miss doing that. That was really good.
Yeah, like say what we like about the game, but there's gonna be like some type of weird situation where I'm some like 50-year-old man and like someone opens up YouTube and the New Horizons theme plays and I'm like, oh, back in my day.
Bliss. I think they slowed down a lot of the updates, especially during the pandemic year.
Yeah.
The updates started to waver a little bit, and we started getting less and less for each update, and that's a little bit upsetting, especially because you're expecting characters from older games to pop up again.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good job adding characters over the year, especially because they're free updates and not DLCs. But I do think
Yeah.
there could have been a lot more effort put into it that would have kept the game a little bit alive, and people are just getting bored because of that. Like you said you
Yeah.
stopped playing it.
I mean, I think I'd agree with everything that you were saying. I think the updates became very diluted in that it started off with nearly every update there was going to be some form of new NPC. Jaybee and I used to stay up till they were released at about 1 a.m. I think, because when the update was released, you could go over to Harv's Island and scan in the amiibo, and actually meet the new NPC before the event happened. So that was like this ritual that we used to do. We'd literally just stay awake ready to do that. And then obviously with the last few updates, there's not really been any NPCs. And to some extent, I know that we've spoke to people that have said they feel like Nintendo didn't actually give them the 2 or 3 years of updates as promised. It's almost like they've time locked events that have already happened. Then the update is you get back what you already had. Like, you did Mayday last year. Congratulations, here's your update. It's Mayday again. And people were a bit like, no,
Yeah, here's
updates means
two more
something
items.
new, something's changed, something, there's going to be some form of development. And it's just become back of, you had this before, you can have it again.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. They give you like 1 to 2 items more, or like a few items more, and expect you to be okay with that. We were promised free
Yeah.
updates, and the game wasn't even finished when it released. It felt like an empty game because once you got to that milestone of getting him, like the musician KK slides to your island, it kind of felt empty, It's like,
Yeah.
I'm
And
done with that. What do I do?
I mean, arguably, I think one of the best updates of the last maybe 4 updates may not be classified as a free update. The Sanrio one was one that at least got us to turn the game back on for a little while, no matter how brief. To see new characters, the corresponding items, and obviously you had to get your hands on the amiibo cards to do that, which presented a huge challenge in itself because Nintendo notoriously don't print enough cards for amiibo series and that kind of thing.
They play
So
the
it was
supply
kind
and
of
demand.
disappointing that so few people got their hands on those. But I think for us personally, that was one of the only updates that made us come back to the game for at least a little while.
Yeah, I didn't even get to jump back for that. I wasn't interested, and I think it catches some people, but other people are waiting for other things. I was the other people that were waiting for other things, so I didn't jump back on for the Sanrio, but I did see a lot of hype for it, so I know Nintendo did something right with it.
They did, but again, there was the issue of they're not printing enough amiibo cards. They tried to monitor that it was one per household. But we spoke to people who were like, yeah, I just told Nintendo I live in a block of flats, that's how I got 8 packs. And it's like, oh gosh. So it wasn't monitored. They wanted to monitor it so that they couldn't be scalpers. Everyone would manage to get access to them, but it ultimately didn't work too well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. In fact, one of the best updates that I feel recently, and I say recently, I actually have no idea the time frame of this, but you know the one that introduced more custom designs on like standees?
Oh, that was
Because
okay.
creatively, that did wonders for like people still playing, but I don't think it was enough to bring a lot of people back. Like we've got this friend, Smash, and they fell off the game and they started playing it again. But then it was kind of like, well, once you found that new level of creativity, do you then have the energy to tear down your island and find a space for it, or do you just add stuff on and then you're done? It's like, you know, it becomes very tedious when your own island is the thing that's getting in your way.
And it's really hard to tear apart. Like I spent 3 hours trying to flatten out my whole island and get rid of everything. It's
Yeah,
really
I mean,
tedious.
I think there's certain people who, if a new update came out, like, here's another building, find somewhere for it, they wouldn't know what to do. Because everyone's island is. Obviously, some people have been deconstructing their island, but most people's islands are finished. They've got the design, they're happy with the design, they wouldn't want it changed in any way. And to that end, it's like, what do you do? Because even when new items come out, they don't want to touch their island. People have put like 1,000 hours or so into making their island what it is. So they don't want to change it. The updates, if anything, are going to hinder them because they don't want to mess with the island they've created. To introduce new NPCs could be new buildings and that kind of thing, which they probably don't think they've got room for. So I guess maybe part of the reason that people are getting burnout is because they almost feel like they've completed the game, their island design is done.
Yeah, I agree. Like that brings me into the next point. Like people that are like done with it, they don't want anything more added to it, or otherwise they'd have to make room and tear things out, like JB said. Do you what do you think about the people that are restarting their islands? Like, would you guys do it personally?
Um, Personal goals in the next couple of weeks is that I want to start streaming as part of that stream, I do want to reset my island. It's something I've been working on is kind of clearing it. So it is something I want to do, but that being said, that's on my second Switch. So JB got me a Switch for Christmas, so I had my own island. That's the one that I'd want to restart. The first island that we had together is so like nostalgic. We still have our original two villagers that invited us to that met us on the island. So there is nothing that would make us like hard reset that and lose those islanders.
Yeah.
That's not an option. There's been times when we're like, okay, let's flatten the island and do a different theme, but never fully resetting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people have reset their islands. It's been a
Like,
big thing for the past month.
Yeah, we've seen so many streamers like kind of make that a series, and it's definitely something interesting. I can definitely see the appeal, and I think obviously, Millie, I think you're interested in doing that. But for me personally, that's not something that I would ever do. Not just because of the kind of attachment to the original island. It's just I couldn't imagine like I'm
having
kind of
to earn all
bored
those
now. Yeah,
bells
I'm a bit
again.
bored now with all my items, with all my bells, all my islanders. That to just have none of that, it's like I don't know if that's gonna like make me more excited to have less. I don't know.
Yeah, and that plays into the game being replayable again as well. Because when you're
Yeah.
playing from the beginning of Animal Crossing, it's a lot of work to get all that stuff. It takes a lot of time. Like you guys would set alarms to get this going, and I personally wouldn't have the drive to do that anymore.
No, we certainly wouldn't. Like, when we started the channel, we wanted to, well, when it transitioned to JB and Millie, and it was like the height of the pandemic, we were like, okay, we've got all this time. Let's dedicate ourselves to daily island tours. And this was before Dream Suites. So I'd be on Twitter, I'd set up 3 tours a day so we had chance to get ahead. And we would sit and record 3 different tours every day. We'd be working with time zones from Australia to America. There was one time when we set an alarm for 5 a.m. because it was the only time somebody in America could record was 5 a.m. our time. Like, we were very dedicated to this game. And then, like we said, it's not fully fallen away. We've done an island tour in the last week, I want to say.
To be fair, back then we were at home, so we could literally record any time we wanted with no problem. Like being here because we had to move. Like this place is so noisy and so loud. Our only recording windows are typically from 11 p.m. to whenever we drop asleep, and that's not the most ideal like setting because that's tiredness, as well
Yeah.
as fatigue.
I will admit I've fallen asleep doing a video before just because that is our recording window. Like, we now have to live with JB's. I don't want to say have to because they're your family, but we live with JB's family, and so there's 3 of them constantly coming in and out of the house. Every time they
Dogs.
come in and out of the house, the dogs start barking. Every time someone walks past the gate, a dog starts barking. So it's kind of like, okay, everyone will be in bed by 11. We can start recording then. And, like we said, we can try recording till like 3, 4 a.m. sometimes. And I think it was an island tour. I once fell asleep and JB was just like, wake up.
Yeah, but I kind of feel bad because obviously, like YouTube isn't just about numbers and what gets views. But when we do have that limited window, I always try and have a good mix of what we love to record and what's gonna get more views, like an island tour or something. But then obviously because it's like doing an island tour at like 1 a.m., that's just
When you've
that's-
already got burnout for the game, to then try to be awake enough at 1 a.m. to play that game for a
even
video.
later sometimes.
Yeah, that's when that like I said, that was the time I just fell asleep because I had such bad burnout. and it was just getting so late that I just couldn't engage with it.
Yeah, you want to like capture that audience so they could watch your other stuff too. Like it's kind of hard to choose from that, especially when you're burnt out. And I feel for you guys for the sounds in the background of other people, and it's kind of hard to work around everybody else, especially when they're not aware. I used to live with my mom. I've been doing YouTube since 2011, and when I was younger, I would try to do YouTube. It was to the point where I was okay with them being in the back of the video. So I would just let them do their thing, and I would add it to the video just to like make fun of that. But it is
Yeah.
stressful to do that because you want your space for yourself, and especially when you have to do certain times that like you were saying, when people before the dream suite, you would have to meet them at that time because that was the only way you could see their island. That adds
Yeah.
like even tighter schedule to your already tight schedule.
We actually bought a diary at the very start to like set up these island tours with everybody. We had a poster where JB had all these post-it notes attached, and it was like tour 1, tour 2, and it'd be the name of like it'd be their Twitter, it'd be their island name. We were like very like methodical with everything at the start, and it did slowly, I guess, fall apart as we lost interest for the game and had to move and all that kind of thing.
Well, I kind of miss that though. I feel like the Dream Suite took a bit of like personalization away from it for like I guess for me, because it motivated me so much to just have that kind of feeling like this person is physically taking like half an hour out of their day to show us around, and then they're excited to see the video. Like if they took that time, like throughout the early days, we had so many people saying, thank you so much for this. I put it on the TV and I watched it with my family.
Yeah, that was
And
really nice.
Yeah.
with Dream Suites, it's still good, but we don't kind of get that anymore. It's just, oh, can we
Yeah.
visit this Dream Suite, please? Oh yeah, of course, that's lovely. Thanks.
You're right, it did have a more personal element to it. So, for example, I think the first 50, maybe 60 island tours we did was before the Dream Suite, and we actually have a group of friends at this point who we've done island tours of. And just because, so the first island tour that we ever did, somebody had put a tweet out saying that they wanted to be able to do a tour of, they wanted to be able to have a video of their island, but the screen captures 30 seconds for the Switch. Like, did anybody have a capture card that could help them out to do that? And JB just happened to be awake at 3 a.m. in the morning for some reason and came across that tweet and was like, okay, this is the start of Island Tours. We can do this. Like, this person's asking for some help. Surely there's other people that would be too. And that was kind of the start of it. But as JB was saying, and I was kind of alluding to that, like, the personal element in that person that we did the first island tour for, we did our first island tour nearly a year ago now.
Yeah.
And we still play games with that person, like Among Us or Jackbox or something, at least once every 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, even today.
Yeah,
If it was just a Dream Suite, we probably never would have spoken again, which is kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe not, but I just kind of feel that way.
You're like building a community based on it because you're making new friends, and I think that's the awesome part of Animal Crossing, is bringing people together like that.
Yeah,
It is.
I guess the issue now is, unfortunately, maybe it's like my personal laziness, but it's just, if we're gonna do an island tour, just, can we find a dream address?
Yeah, it's certainly changed. Like, it used to be, let's set up a time with the creator for them to show us around. After the tour, it was, okay, let's send them a list of questions. We'll do a Q&A. How many hours did they put in? But then, time just became so kind of limited that it was, okay, we can't physically set up a time anymore where we'd be free and the creator would be free. We can't sit around waiting for a few days for them to send the questions back because we don't have the storage space on the laptop. The files had started corrupting because we were running out of storage. And I don't know if it was some tech problems as well that maybe influenced
Yeah, see,
burnout for Animal Crossing as well.
Well, no, you actually got it spot on there, because, like we say, being in this new situation, and a lot of the creators were American based. We like the times just weren't lining up for it to hit that kind of 11 p.m. to this time mark. But Dream Suites used to just be something that we used to patch things. Like if there were technical errors, like you were saying, in the middle of an island tour, we'd say, okay, we can fill that in on the Dream Suite. And now it's
Yeah.
just the main thing.
Kind
Well,
of like this right
Nintendo
now, though.
Online could be a bit better with Animal Crossing, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't miss about island tours is when the internet would disconnect. You'd have to like hop onto Twitter because it took too long to type in the game saying like, the internet cut out when we're at this place. Can we restart from here?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
and it takes
stressful.
forever to like go to somebody else's island. It takes
Yeah.
forever. The loading screen it lasts forever. And that has part to do with their servers and part to do with the hardware.
See, we once so we had a friend who again I think we'd done an island tour of their island and they invited us to their birthday party in Animal Crossing. And it got to the stage where our internet had been the fault of everybody getting kicked off the island so many times that they were literally like, okay, thank you, but do you want to just like stay on Discord and not fly back over this time? Because it is just so
Oh
disruptive.
no. It starts getting stressful. It
Yeah.
does. Oh man. Well, I'm glad that you guys were able to do that and like start a community cuz you guys do deserve where you're at, like that many
Thank
subs
you.
right now. You guys have awesome content. I was strolling through before the call and watching some of your guys' videos. You guys do good videos. I enjoy your guys' content. You guys do deserve way
Thank
more
you.
than what you have, but I guarantee you'll get it soon.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
I mean,
Oh.
I think we're quite lucky in like, it's like you were saying earlier that having two people kind of makes it a bit different in that we can have more of like a conversation. We can almost sometimes bully each other a little bit. I know that I might disagree with JB and that can turn into borderline bullying on occasion.
Yeah, maybe.
And you guys like can team up on things and you're able to handle multiple things out at once. Like some of you guys can do like the posting, the tags, the thumbnails, and the other person will be doing the social media and sharing and all that. It allows you to reach further without stressing only one person out.
It does. Like we came up with an agreement, I want to say in September. So, and that was that we were starting our masters at university. And it was also when we were kind of at one of our best stages with YouTube because Home Circuit and stuff was coming out. And so we made an agreement that JB was taking all the channel stuff and I was taking the like real life college stuff. And we'd record together. He'd do the tags and description. I'd do the learning because it was all remote learning,
Yeah.
and then kind of just catch him up afterwards. And we divided it up really well, and I think because of that, we managed to kind of do as many uploads as we did because there was one time when we spoke to, I think it was Beardo Benjo, and they told us you can do 3 uploads a day in terms of notifications and stuff. So we made it a rule, like we're uploading 3 times a day. And the only reason that we actually managed to do that is because there's more than one person.
Man,
Yeah, I'd
that's such a
agree.
good dynamic.
And I enjoy it as well because obviously like there's then discussions behind the scenes of what we're in the mood for in terms of content and stuff like that. And I don't know, I enjoy it a lot because then I get like encouraged, when like I can say, what do you think of this thumbnail? Like what needs changing there? Like what do you think about this? And a
Yes.
lot of like people that watch us are like really, really sweet. They're like, oh, if you ever need any like mods when you start streaming, please let us know. And it's like that's really sweet, but I kind of don't feel like we're ever gonna get to the stage where we need mods. Not necessarily for lack of viewership, although that is kind of a bit of it now. But just like say if Millie was streaming, I could just sit there in the chat as like a moderator. And it's like for now, I reckon it's a pretty good setup with it being two
Yeah,
of us.
that's
Yeah.
a good tag team right there. I love you. I love you guys for like being able to figure that out. That's awesome.
Thank you. I mean, admittedly, the channel has consumed our life a little bit. Like, there'll be times when I wake up in the morning to Jaybee going, "We got 4 more subscribers during the night. Check this out."
Yeah.
Like, that'll be the greeting some mornings, just like, "Look at the sub count." Or I managed to get that video out when you'd fallen asleep or something like that. Like, the predominant, like, first conversation in the day will be some form of channel update.
Yeah, which is, I don't know if that's
But it's
good or
really
bad.
nice because I feel like we've got so busy with like uni and then looking for jobs and that kind of thing that the channel almost makes us take some time out. So it's like, okay, well, we need to do a video, so let's play this game together. That maybe we wouldn't focus as much on spending time together playing games and stuff if it wasn't for the channel.
I would, yeah, maybe, because I don't know if we would be doing something else. Because one thing we had to kind of give up a bit to do the channel the way we've done it. Not like we'd have to, like no one forced us to do the channel, but like in terms of time, that was reading a lot. And I always said the second we hit 1,000, I'm gonna take a week off and I'm just gonna finish a book completely. But
yeah, you've not read.
Yeah.
See, we used to collect books. We have like over 2,000 books, I want to say.
Oh man.
And JB's not completed a book since we started the channel.
And it's killed me a bit inside, but at the same time, I definitely agree that without the channel, there would be no like, okay, this new game's coming out. Like I probably wouldn't have got Pokemon Snap if it wasn't, for the channel. And it was like, okay,
Utopia.
so now we're going to enjoy this and another game. We played Stardew Valley on the channel one time each. We really liked it, but it wasn't something that we would have necessarily have done for content because the way we're recording, we have to sit quite far back from the TV, and we find like stuff for Stardew Valley is quite difficult to see.
Yeah, the graphics kind of seem better in handheld, so you're closer to the screen.
But just having the channel opened us up to the possibility of Stardew Valley, and then we enjoyed it a lot in handheld mode.
See, I've just remembered something else Animal Crossing related. Sorry to take it back a couple of stages.
You're all good.
I actually used to find the game really immersive. Like, when it got dark on the island, I couldn't be in a light room. I used to have to like sit in the bedroom and turn the lights off, so I felt like it was the right level of darkness so I could see the screen properly.
Yeah.
And I used to, I just used, like we said, we used to set alarms. I used to turn lights off so it felt like it was like the right level of darkness for playing the game. It just like some of the conversations there we were having about like early days of the channel just took me back to like JB used to like see I'd make dinner, we'd eat dinner and then JB would go and wash up, and while JB was washing up I'd just sit there with the lights off like in my little Animal Crossing world.
But legit though, that is so much nostalgia. Maybe it's because we did need to leave home that like this kind of hits me a bit harder. But literally, one thing that we did non-stop then that we don't do now is Mystery Island tours, where you like go and chop trees.
Yeah.
And no word of a lie, like just listening to the song that plays on those Mystery Island tours takes me right back.
We used to
to like
fight
absolute happiness, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need this.
See, JB talking there about collecting resources. We used to fight so much
Break all the
over the stones on the island.
Yeah,
I
'cause
didn't
you're
get it at
limited.
first. Yeah, so I didn't get it at first. I just used to keep breaking them. Like,
No.
I don't know how it happened, but every time I hit one, I broke it. And JB was like, "Where's all the stones?" And I was like, "It's okay, one will respawn tomorrow." And then he'd go on the game the next day, like, "Where's the rock?" And I was like, I don't know. Knowing fine well that I'd gotten the Switch before he had that morning, accidentally broken the new rock that had spawned that day. And I had to try and convince him that he just needed to look at a different part of the island.
You were just calling him crazy. You're
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
just
you're
like
just
it'll be there
tired."
somewhere. I've not been on yet today. Just keep looking.
Did you find out how you were breaking it? You're eating fruits and stuff?
Yeah, I see. I feel like I was kind of doing it deliberately because I knew that you could get so many, but then if you ate something and hit it again, you'd get another piece or something. So I feel like I was doing it for that literally just one
Just
extra
one
piece
extra.
of stone. Yeah, but JB honestly used to get so annoyed that whenever it came to his turn on the Switch, because I've always woken up before him, So like whenever it got to his turn on the Switch, the rocks were all gone.
Yeah,
There
that's
was
one of the
no
things
like
that was
wood left
hard.
to get from the trees or anything.
Well, you
Like
never told me you were doing it on purpose. That's just
Oh
come out
no!
now.
I just reignited a fight. Oh no!
That's ridiculous. Like 7 months later.
This is where the truth comes out on a podcast. I didn't like how they had limited supplies either though, because you were only limited some per day, so you had to get on every day to like make sure you stock up for a future when you would actually need it. That was one of the hard things about
yeah.
Animal Crossing.
I used to have a routine of like the order of the island I'd go around to make sure I hit every tree and that kind of thing. Like, but one thing, going back to like Animal Crossing Burnout, I felt like one thing that made JB get that quite far before I did maybe, is he had what he called Player 2 syndrome for the longest time. So he didn't get any of the tasks from Tom Nook of you need to craft this because 3 new islanders are on the way. You need to help these people place these tents. He just turned up and it was you can get a DIY and you can do some crafting. Because I'd been player 1, and I guess when we first got
Never
it, we
donated
didn't.
to Blathers.
Yeah, you couldn't donate to Blathers or anything, could you? And like when we first got the game, we didn't read the box, so we were like, okay, it's either going to be that we can both create a separate one or something. And then he just turned up on my island, and I was a bit like, I don't want you here. You can have this corner.
Don't want you.
Like I physically made him cross over the river, so he wasn't on my part of the island.
No. Yeah,
But yeah,
it does
he
suck
got
that
the
they did
worst
that.
player 2 syndrome.
It does suck that they limited for everybody for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then,
man.
like I was saying, it was limited as to how many resources you could get. So if I'd gone around the island chopping trees before he woke up, he couldn't then get any on his account because it was limited to 3 bits of wood per tree for the entire like thing. So he'd wake up, there'd be no wood left, there'd be no stones left,
Oh, man.
and he'd
You
just
could have
spent
shared.
his entire time like going on mystery islands or something.
So many Nook Mile tickets wasted. Oh, I hear JB
At
in the
one
back. You
point,
could have shared.
At one point, I think we actually planted some trees near his garden, so he at least had some wood that he like claimed was his.
No, but you still got those.
Only if you'd been on and not utilized
Mate,
it.
yeah, but you didn't warn me. I just no, I don't like it.
Millie,
It's
you're a
betrayal.
thief. Oh, I love it.
Oh gosh.
That adds something because you have another player. It adds that extra like fun to it because of those kind of moments too. Even though like it might have not been the best memory, it was still nostalgia to remember.
Yeah, it was so funny. And even like when you could only get one item in Nook's Cranny, the like fight to get on first in the morning of who would get that item, who would find the fossils, who would get their name on the museum donations when there was new bugs and fish. Like on the first of every month, we'd be like almost fighting over who got to go on the Switch first to get the new bugs to donate them and have their name in the museum.
Oh man,
we were so
You
competitive.
used to lie to me, and I remember that because it was before I found out that if you go into like the Critterpedia, it shows like it says donated if you've like donated it or not, and I'd be so excited because in order to when you find a new bug, it says yes. I found such and such versus just I got such and such.
yeah.
And I would be so excited, like, oh, in your face, look at this, I've got a new one. And you'd go, oh, yeah, I donated that yesterday. And I'd be so upset. And I didn't know that I could check. And all the time, you would just then catch that one later and donate them.
You're giving him a sense of
Although-
untrust.
Although, admittedly, if it was something really rare, so it was worth a lot of bells, I used to let him donate it just so I could sell it and have more bells to pay my house off.
Oh my god. And Millie was the nefarious version of you guys.
Yeah, everyone thought Tom Nook was bad until they've heard how I was playing this game with JB.
The real capitalist. Well, to be fair, JB, you should have been setting your alarm and getting up early and beat the early bird.
No, I couldn't do it.
That's fair. Oh man, that you guys are funny. Oh well, now that we've gotten like past all of the stuff for Animal Crossing, E3 is on its way, and Nintendo is gonna make a big announcements. What are you guys' expectations for what's coming as for Animal Crossing and updates?
Well, this isn't necessarily an expectation. We did actually just finish recording a podcast about this, so I don't know. I really wanted to see more in terms of Nintendo diving into the realm of augmented reality, because we've spoken a little bit about Home Circuit here, and for all I don't think there's necessarily going to be an augmented Animal Crossing thing, I'd have liked to have seen like an equivalent of Mario Kart Home Circuit, but with Pokemon Snap. So as opposed to controlling your cart, you control that little hoverboard that you have, and you almost design little courses around, say, your living room where Pokemon will pop up, almost a bit like a console version of like Pokemon Go. But I don't think that that's very likely at all. It's just something a bit out of the box that I've thought of that maybe would be cool. But anything augmented reality, I think, would be mind blowing.
Well, you never know.
I
I
mean,
think
in
they dipped
terms
their
of
toe into it with Home Circuit, with Mario Home Circuit. I think they
Yeah,
yeah,
kind of dipped their toe
and
into it.
before they did that, you'd literally heard nothing about Nintendo and augmented reality except for those like 3DS cards. So even if they leave it another few years, I don't think it's out of the question that we see more augmented reality from there.
yeah. I think in terms of E3, I aren't expecting too much Animal Crossing here. I think I'm gonna be really excited. I'm gonna want to watch it, hoping there's gonna be something, and then it's gonna be like, oh, this is Zelda's anniversary. We said on the last direct that we couldn't release a trailer for this game. Well, here it is. That's what I'm dreading. That's what I expect. But
Oh no,
what
but
I'd
Legend of
really
Zelda.
like, what I'd really like is something Animal Crossing, because that was like where my main passion was for Nintendo. I'd like the main thing I'd like is some functionality to the pier. I
Mm,
want there to be a boat that turns up there that takes you to another island. So I believe we were told that in one Animal Crossing game you could visit a different island where there's
New
almost like
Leaf.
mini games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could go to a different island, you could play these mini games. Maybe like, you can do that till your inventory's full and then you have to come back to empty it out into your house or something, that's fine. But I would love to see some functionality to the pier and like it getting to take you somewhere. I mean, I think the entire community is back in Brewster. I'd love it if there was another like building to add to the island for them, because I feel like a few people need to almost be forced to shake their island up a bit to get them back into the game.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like a lot of people feel like, oh, I've completed it, my island's finished. So I guess it'd be really nice for there to be something that makes them go, oh no, I need, not like because I want them to have a negative experience, but something that makes them go, okay, this is a game changer. I need to shift some things around. I need to rethink at least a certain section.
Yeah, and
See,
they had the mini games like you were talking about for the other island in New Leaf, but they added them in a different way to New Horizons. Like when your animals are like, "Hey, let's find this present, and if you find where I dug it up, you can have it," or something like that. And they added the catching bugs for when the I don't remember his name, but he comes to your island and he's like, "Catch this many bugs," or even the challenge for when the fish guy. I keep forgetting their names, but they would like have you
Flick
do
and
like challenges.
CJ.
Flick and CJ, thank you. They would have you do challenges. Those were the mini games that New Leaf had when you'd go to a different island, and they added it in a different way. So I don't think they're gonna add it. I feel like they need to take you to another island though. At least maybe even in an addition
Yeah.
or something like that to like add more flair. So I completely understand where you're coming from. It would be a lot better than just adding, a coffee shop on your town to add something
Yeah.
outside of it.
I
And
mean, something else people have said that they'd like is a paid DLC where you could almost buy a second island to decorate. So
mm-hmm.
you could use the pier as a method of transport to get between whatever islands you have bought to then design, I guess that would be a lot more complex. Like, do you have a resident services on every one of those islands? Is it just plain land that you then build on? There'd be a lot of complications to that, I guess. But
Yeah.
I think my main thing is I would like to see a new building and I would like some functionality to the pier. They're like my two big things because I remember first playing the game, like, why is there an airport on a deserted island when they've got a perfectly functional pier they could have used? I don't know why, but that was one thing that always got to me.
Yeah.
Not a clue why.
I agree with
But
you.
yeah, I'd
That pier
love
is
to
there
see
for no
some
reason.
functionality.
Yeah. That
Yeah, it's
pier has
literally
been.
just you can go fishing off it, and it's like,
Yeah.
well,
It's
I'd
like
like to see some more than just catching a few fish once a year.
Yeah. Especially if you already got all that fish, and many people do. Many people already caught all of them.
Yeah, like so many people time traveled so early and filled their museums within a few months.
Hmm. I
So
I don't know
guess it lost
how.
all functionality after that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess to make bells with like high end fish, you could sell them for more. But I think a lot of people are kind of set with bells already.
Yeah, and I guess if you want to do that now,
I'm-
there's the deep sea diving update. You get more from diving than you do fishing.
See,
Yeah.
that was fun, I kind of feel. But again, it just then became another one of like your daily activities, which is just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, it was almost like you had a chores list.
yeah.
Like, I need to go and get a DIY from Pascal. I need to pick the weeds on my island. I need to, catch this fish today because it's just come into season.
Wake
I
up, Gulliver.
genuinely feel like my chores list was bigger for Animal Crossing than it was for our home.
Yeah.
I see that. I completely see that. They did add more chores than they did add more fun. That's the one thing that I was hoping Animal Crossing would do is like they've already added all the emotes and stuff that you're able to do. I was hoping that they would do like I don't know, like a mini game based off the emotes. I was really hoping for that. So like when you would start an emote, you would like
Yeah.
be able to like maybe tap the screen or something and you'd like singing or playing instruments and stuff like that. I wanted one of those things, like just to add even
Yeah.
a little bit more to the games. Or even where you have like arcade games inside your house, you can go to them and play them like you were able to do in the previous Animal Crossing games. There was even one where you could play all the older like NES games. I wish they would like add that to Animal Crossing.
That'd be amazing. Even like the snooker table, you could almost. We've seen so many digital formats have been able to play that you'd think that they could make that a mini game.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I'd really like more interaction with is islanders. So I think it might be because I'm lazy, but I never unlocked a villager portrait. I think it'd be really nice if there was almost a progress bar or a progress meter on like this is your friendship stage with this character. It could be in order to give them more interaction and to boost that. If you go and see Isabel, there could be a functionality like tell me about this villager or tell me about this islander. And it could be that Isabel tells you that they're not very well that day, so you need to take medicine round. It could be that could even be part of the morning announcement, like this person had a call from home, so you know to go and see them because they're going to want to talk about it, that kind of thing.
Or even
Yeah.
just on the notice board. I would like to see, in terms of you were talking about villagers, like, one thing I hate doing now is logging onto the game at night and they're all asleep. I'd like almost, and this is talking about stuff like The Sims, or maybe even just going back to games that I used to put hours and hours into when I was little, like Club Penguin. I would like a nightlife package almost for
Oh,
Animal Crossing, where maybe there was some like disco, because we were like admiring your channel random about Mario Party, and my favorite game from the new Mario Party game is the rhythm mini game where you kind of need to copy Waluigi's dance moves.
yeah.
It'd be cool if you could like have to copy people's emotes, like there was KK Slider who was dancing. Maybe Friday night Nux opens up at night and it's you get to go upstairs.
I
It's
want
kind of
to
like a
say
little
they
party room.
used to be in an old Animal Crossing game. Like we said, we've not played. JB and I haven't played them before, so I'm not sure which one.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was one when it was DJKK where there was a physical building you went to for that. But also with the firework displays, I feel like
Yeah,
that
that was
kind
good.
of kept them out a bit later.
Yeah.
That was really fun, and I like that a lot. I just wish that the island wasn't completely like a ghost town at night. That there was just something to do that you can't do in the daytime.
See, our island design was perfect for the fireworks season. It was when we'd just done our Hunger Games island.
Yeah.
And one of the scenes in the second Hunger Games is like a firework display. So we'd used all these like Hunger Games custom designs of like the Mockingjay and stuff just flashing up as fireworks. That was a real highlight for me of
That's
playing Animal
perfect.
Crossing. Yeah.
There was like, remember when I was talking about ordinances that you would be able to set? New Leaf, they had one called Night Owl too that reminded me of what you just said, JB, is you'd be able to like keep your animals up all night and they would sleep during the day. That not exactly what you're saying, but that like ordinances like party time at night or something like that would be nice, you know, setting certain events to happen in the middle of the night would be kind of nice as well.
It would be good. See,
I'd imagine them shying away from that now because like they don't want parents going, you know, how dare you encourage my child to stay up till like 4 a.m.
See, I feel like that's another thing that have, led to JB and I arguing about the game in the early days because
No.
I'm like a full-on morning person. I think it's like criminal to be in bed past like 10 a.m. Whereas JB would love to be like able to stay in bed till 3 p.m. So I feel like if he'd have got the game first, he'd have been like night owl setting, whereas I'd have been like early bird setting. And I'd probably be telling him off for keeping our villagers up all night because I'd want to go on the game in the morning and they'd all be asleep.
It'd be like a teeter-totter, like, no, my villagers.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I was so childish with this game when we first got it. Like JB said, I used to tell him that I'd donated things that I hadn't just so I could get my name in the museum more times. Like, I'm a 20-something like woman and I was acting like younger than a teenager.
Honestly, but that
I was
you're like my spirit
22 years
animal.
old when I was doing this. I can't believe I was 22 and lying about donating things to the museum in Animal Crossing to get my name in there more
It's
times.
just evil.
That's the fun of it, though. You know?
Yeah, I almost feel like I'm so lucky to have got to experience the game with like sharing an island with somebody
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like it did add a new dynamic to it that was really fun.
Yeah, you got a whole
No.
different experience from everybody else. Both of you guys did. Like, mine was mostly
Yeah.
alone, so it was a whole different thing hearing from you guys, and that sounds fun. That would be something I'd
even-
want to look forward to too.
Yeah. It was really good. Like, we spoke to so many couples who both love Animal Crossing. I'm like, oh, so do you share an island? And like, no.
Nope.
We just had a different switches, and we were just like, oh, you missed out.
Me and my girlfriend don't either. She like, I think we bought it like as soon as it came out, just because we wanted our own island and everything. I brought up the idea, but she always shot it down. It's a lot
We actually,
easier.
yeah, we did one island tour where it was a couple, and the island physically had a line down the middle,
Oh god.
and it was
No!
like if fossils spawn on one side, they belong to that person. If they spawn on the other side, they belong to that person. I would have deliberately been going over to JB's side and breaking rocks so they respawned on my side, and then told him off if he.
Yeah, but then you would have
started.
started a war. That would have been like risk or something.
That would have been a huge like JB and Millie war. That might have been a good series.
It would. You know the fence design you can get where it's like spikes or like barbed wire?
The
I
barbed
had
wire
that
design.
down my side, like stay away.
Oh my god. That's awesome. You guys are funny. I love that you guys are able to experience it in a different way, and many others were able to experience it in that way, and that's probably part of the reason why it didn't die as early for you guys as it did for me, because I think it died around like maybe Thanksgiving or even before that. I stopped playing. I got to make it for Halloween, because that was the only one I was excited for, and a little bit of Christmas, but I had to, I think, time travel for that one. But it was fun.
Yeah. And admittedly, I really did enjoy the Thanksgiving event in that it was nice to see the characters doing something different. Like when you went into their houses, they had new furniture so they could cook. The only thing that was really, really tedious is there was one type of crab and it was the most difficult thing to get. And I, and I was lucky. I spoke to a villager, and the first villager I spoke to was like, trade me a mackerel and I'll give you this rare crab. And I was like, that's great. Thank you so much. And then Jaybee, it was Jaybee's turn. And he spent, I want to say, 4 hours diving for that rare crab that I got for a
no.
mackerel. And he just couldn't find it anywhere. So for Jaybee, I think that was a very, very tedious event. And I was very lucky with how it played out for me.
Oh, that's rubbish.
So you guys got to experience some of it way differently too. And that's fun because then you
Yeah.
guys can come together and talk about it and be like, "Oh no, me, I got it easy." It kind of rub it in his
Yeah, it was
face.
certainly that very competitive nature of, I already got that. This villager gave it to me. This villager prefers me. It didn't help you, did they?
It was Lily though, wasn't it?
I say it was Zell.
Oh no, Zell's a waste man.
You're just saying that because Zell likes me more.
No, I got Zell's portrait.
Oh.
Yeah, but you gave it to me. It's mine.
Yeah, but
I know it was an accident.
received
Zell's
it.
mine.
Nah, you're playing games.
You're playing. I think I think if they can bring life back into Animal Crossing, I would definitely go back to it, and that's what I want. But as for now, I think it's ready already digging its grave.
Yeah, I think they need an extreme update. Like,
Yeah.
no more of this, oh, it's time locked from last year, so we're going to call it an update when you get it back. It needs to be an actual update. We want to see something new. Like, it's really nice having conversations like this because we've laughed so much about the game and, like, got so nostalgic that I'm almost like, do you know what? When I said I wanted to, like, restart my island and stream it, I'm actually really looking forward to that. Like, there were so many good moments of the game that I've only just remembered through having this conversation, but I feel like despite this positivity, if I went back to the game, I'd get burnt out relatively quickly again, just
Yeah.
because see, I'm in two mindsets. One is saying there's almost too much, and I'm like, I miss when my island was really simple. I miss when I got excited about getting a DIY from a villager, knowing that I'd be able to utilize it. Whereas now I'm kind of like, I know if I go back, there's just so many things that it's almost too much. I don't know. I kind of think that maybe they've done too many updates where it's here's a new item. We need one that's like, here's a new character. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but like I said, I just miss having a really basic island. Like when we first got it, it was Easter. So I remember crafting like the egg bed and putting that on one of the rocks on the beaches and that kind of thing. Whereas now it's just like there's so many things. I don't know what I'd want to order first, what I'd want to place.
Yeah, and the new items are all just available in Nooks. You don't even need to like go back to the event. You can just go and buy them. But
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I made something because
is it wedding season?
you just
now?
buy
I
everything,
want to do
don't
wedding
you?
season again because I kind of missed out on that.
Yeah, I liked wedding season.
That was my favorite one.
I would do that. Like, legit.
Yeah, it was the first series that I did on the channel, and I used to like. I want to say I recorded that before you even woke up, didn't I? Like I'd wake up and record it, and then you'd wake up and then edit it and upload.
That was the sweetest thing though, because that was like the transitional time because like half this series was in that kind of format of just pointing the camera or like the phone at the TV, and then we got the capture card in the middle of that, and that was fun.
Yeah, the capture card changes the game for the recording. But yeah,
It does.
yeah, I think that restarting it is a lot harder now because we've already experienced all that stuff that's happened, and it's not as, oh wow, I got this, like this is brand new to me. It's like, oh, I got this again, cool, on to the next thing. It's more chorish, And that's kind of what Animal Crossing New
Yeah.
Horizons turned to. It's more of a chore.
See, the one thing that I found, like, with the Sanrio update, I know you didn't play it personally, but you scanned in all 6 cards and then about 60 items came up. And it was like, this is 12 days of gameplay to be able to access these items. That's pretty much 2 weeks to get everything. It is just too much. Why is there so many things? Like, some of them were really, I don't know, maybe I'm alone in this opinion, but some of them were just things that weren't needed, like a little hair grip or something that I don't think I've ever seen anyone use. And some of it was just really similar to the cute DIY furniture. And I feel like they could have minimized the items so much, as opposed to physically being sat there time traveling for 12 days trying to get everything.
Yeah,
Mm,
it kind of takes
yeah,
away
I
the
get that.
gameplay.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I said, it's like I'm saying I've got burnout from the game and that they're not doing enough, but then I'm also saying that there's too much. But I think it's too much of one thing. It's too many things where they've just been like, here's 60 Sanrio items, here's 60 Mario items.
Yeah,
They're
they
just
should
giving
have
us
put
things
it
to buy
gradually.
from Nooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to being like, here's an NPC, let's collect some DIYs like we did at Halloween. It's just like, here you go, order some more stuff from the ATM. Order some more stuff from the ATM.
Yeah, or they couldn't even done what Bunny Day did, where they would have you find the eggs and stuff, and you would get each DIY based on how many you found, and you were able to build them yourself, and it would feel
Yeah.
more worth it. You feel like you worked towards it instead of just being like, okay, well I have the bells because I'm rich now. I can just go and buy them.
Yeah. You're right, and that's a format that disappeared. So, for example, with Festival, if in the old format you'd caught maybe 5 pink feathers, you'd then get a little notification on the screen like, oh, 5 pink feathers, I now have an idea for this. Ding, and then you'd get a new DIY. Whereas
Mhm.
with that, there wasn't anything, I don't think there was anything substantial to take away from Festival because you got a few items, but then if you wanted anything more, you'd need to time travel back.
Yeah, if you wanted to get more and you missed the time frame, you would have to travel back.
Yeah. As opposed to it being like that thing, like we were saying, where when you collect so many of a certain thing, it's like, oh, I've just got an idea for a new project. And then you just open your phone to see what the new DIY is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss that.
Yeah, that's why I think they need to step up their updates and like at least give us something else that is not as chorish but also time consuming that we would enjoy, especially because we're leaving the pandemic now. A lot of people, less people are playing. They need to capture that audience again, and content creators are also getting bored and having to move. And like you guys were saying earlier, they like have that scary point of like they have to switch games because it's dying, but they can't because that's where their audience is.
Yeah.
Nintendo's like everyone's relying on Nintendo at this point for Animal Crossing, and, and that's scary. That's why I'm really hoping for some changes coming on. Uh,
Yeah, see, you asked us, so I kind of was wondering if I could throw that question back at you and ask you what you'd like to see at E3 for Animal Crossing.
well, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care about the coffee shop. I did like how you were able to back in the older games give other animals orders. Like if they asked you to get them a coffee, you can go and pick it up for them and take it to them, and that would like build friendship for each other. I don't really care about Brewsters though. I'd want more of mini games and stuff like that. Like we have a bunch of games and instruments on the island, and they are not utilized because they're just there for pretty. I want to be able to like add more. You'd be able to play against your animals, or you'd be able to get play against friends that come over. And even with instruments you could pluck them, that's nice and stuff, but it would be nice to also set like your own little like kind of like a keyboard on the Switch where you could put it in the handheld and you could pluck the strings with the touchscreen, or you could put it on the TV and be able to like tap on the things with the little cursor. But also I wanted a vegetable update too because you know how we have fruit trees and everything, and you're
Yes.
able to grow that. I want different like carrots, and we had pumpkins, so it's like those are fruits, but like it's possible to like make stuff in the ground. They could do it if they wanted to. I
So
really
many
want that.
people were saying with Franklin, like, oh, we're getting a cooking
Yeah, the
update.
natural progression from the vegetables to
Okay,
Franklin.
great. There's going to be a cooking update. I wonder what this is about. And it was literally just, okay, go and find me these ingredients and you can do it for one day only.
That was the
And I'm
most disappointing.
so sad
Mhm.
because we'd been speculating about it on podcasts for a few
Yeah.
And
weeks.
signs pointed to it
And
as well.
everyone was saying, look, we've looked at the coding, we've looked at everything. It's a cooking update. And they just missed the mark so much. Like you were saying, there's just so many items that are amazing, but they're just missing that interactivity. Like
Yeah.
the teacups, I love them. That's such an amazing
They're so
item.
cute.
But I want to be able to sit in them. There's like slides. I want to be able to go down the slide. Like there's just I just wish there was functionality to the items that they've added into the game.
And you know, I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
think
it
it would be
doesn't
too
bode
hard.
well when like the only functional thing is like a toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked how they added that. That was funny. It was the funniest thing. I found it out on accident. I ate apples and I was checking out somebody's house and I sat on their toilet and I'm like, oh my god,
Oh
my
my
apples
god.
went away.
That's
It was
amazing.
it was those small things that would like make people excited, and they could do that with all the items to be able like you could already sit on half of the stuff like tree stumps, you could sit on tires, you could sit on a lot of stuff. Like why couldn't they add that for like teacups or like the slides like you were saying? There's just so much they could do that they're not doing yet. Ugh.
Yeah, and the issue is I don't know if it's something that they're ever gonna do. I think they just need to change the narrative quite a lot. So, and there's been so many speculation videos where people are like, oh, we've looked at the coding and there's 2 more rooms to come in the museum. And it's just like, well, everyone's been saying that for so long now that when's this actually going to happen? Because there's been so many updates that are just almost nothingness at this point.
Yeah.
And
And
like we said with the cooking update, all signs pointed to that, but then you couldn't get it. So it's like, are all these people who are indicating things due to coding just almost getting excited about what's been glorified, that it's not actually there? Because, like we said, cooking would have been an amazing concept. It added some interactivity, but then it just didn't kind of go through.
yeah, and they added it to their other games like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's like one of the other games that they added that to. And it works so well. They could totally do it.
And
Even
Pokemon.
Pokemon, like on Pokemon, you can do a curry dex, and I'm very girly. I didn't really play Pokemon, but one thing I loved is going on to JB's Pokemon Sword game, and he'd collected berries that could go and make curry dexes for the Pokemon. That's something I love doing. There's cooking functionalities even there, and that's to build relationships with the Pokemon. So could you not cook and then deliver it to an islander like you do on your birthday with the cupcakes in order to kind of
Mhm.
gain friendship points, gain new items, gain new ingredients to unlock new recipes or something?
There's so much they could do with it. There's so much. And that's a good point. I like that. I think that would be a good touch on Animal Crossing. And like they would add recipes and you just would collect the fish that you already collect. You collect the bugs that you already collect, and then you would just add them into a dish and find new recipes each time. That would be
Yeah.
another fun thing to do. It'd be like it'd just be
Yeah.
fun.
Even if they wanted to take it one step further, they could do like they have with Metopia, where the first time you gift an islander something, they try it and then say whether or not they like it, and then it could either reduce or increase the friendship points based on if you're gifting them things that they like or don't like.
Yeah. That is a good idea. I didn't even think about that. That way you could learn your animals a lot better, and it would kind of bring more life to the animals, because they kind of were robots at the beginning of the game. They would say the same thing over and
Yeah.
over, and you couldn't even get two different. Like, you can get like a cutesy one and another cutesy one because they're exactly the same. They would say the same things, and there would be no differences. But like that would add a little bit more to depth of each character.
It would. I just don't know if it's like. See, I think the community have such amazing ideas, and I feel like this is why I'm still have hope for Animal Crossing, is because over the duration of the channel, we've listened to people from the community have such good ideas that I'm just hoping and praying that Nintendo have got some concept of what people want. So I've heard these incredible ideas, and I'm like, I'd be really excited for this. But it's like, if what Nintendo have been doing recently with the updates is anything to go on, I actually shouldn't be even pretending that I can look forward to this.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Are you guys gonna be watching the direct?
Yeah, I imagine we'll react to it. I think.
Yeah, it's soon, isn't it? Isn't it early?
Is it the 12th, 12th to the
I think
15th?
it
It
goes
should
on
be the
for
12th.
about
I
a
think
week, doesn't it?
it goes on for like 3 days, I believe. Last time I went to
Yeah.
E3, it was 3 days. But if you guys do, you guys should totally stream your reactions. I'm telling you, I'll join you on that one. I won't be able to stream this year, so I'd love to see you guys'
I-
reactions.
I think we will certainly react to it, but mainly just in the hope of something Animal Crossing related.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think you'd be excited for Pokemon, JB, but I think
I just want stuff that releases relative. I'm praying that nothing's like announced crazy. That's like this will be released tonight. Like, cause
Yeah.
I've put myself on a very strict spending embargo, and I just feel like with Animal Crossing Build-A-Bears, saving up for the Pokemon Generation 4 remakes,
And the
like they've
Sanrio
released like
packs.
so many things in Pokemon Snap, Miitopia, that it's like, and there's even rumors about a new Switch Pro, and it's like, oh, these guys are gonna bleed me dry, like I can't have anything released within the next 5 months minimum. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm on a strict budget too for that. They're gonna bleed me dry, especially with the new Legend of Zelda coming out, and then and the new Pokemon, the open world Pokemon. I'm pretty sure you're pretty excited about that as I am. I'm so
Yeah, I mean,
hyped.
the thing is with Legend of Zelda, I really love the franchise. Although I feel like my love for Legend of Zelda surprisingly peaked with the DS games. Like I still have the biggest nostalgia for Spirit Tracks, and I don't know. I tried Breath
Yes.
of the Wild and I couldn't really get into it. I know that's like the most unpopular
Yeah.
opinion in the world.
We did a video, and his little brother loves Breath of the Wild, and he was always asking his brother to be part of our channel. So his brother was like, "Okay, I'll do this one video if you do this video where you actually try the game." And I've never known JB, like, I may have broken some rocks on the island in my time, but JB's never been so grumpy as he was playing that game. It was like he was just been sat there, had been forced into playing it.
Well, that game's
I
hard.
know,
It
And
really is.
yeah, I think you jumped off a tower within the first 10 seconds
yeah.
and then decided that you didn't like the game because you died.
And then this Santa guy was bossing me about, and it was like, no,
Santa guy, yes.
stop it.
I tell you though, once you get past that area, it only gets harder too. So I think you would just have to like get used to that type of style of games. I played like Dark Souls a lot when I was younger, so I kind of got used to like, waiting and like being careful. But if you're like newer to that kind of game, you go in there and charge because you're used to being like, being able to hit first and always like getting that first hit and not dying right away. Breath of the Wild is more unforgiving in that way. And it's not as unpopular as you think. A lot of people got turned off to that game because of that.
No, I enjoy it, and even with Skyward Sword, I've played some of the games of that generation. I think that's kind of more my thing, even though it's quite similar. There's that kind of more linear storytelling.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of more hyped for the Joy-Cons than the game.
Oh, the
Like the
Joy-Cons look
Joy-Cons
beautiful.
look gorgeous.
The
Like
motion
I don't know
too.
when they're gonna sell them, but oh my gosh, I
They did
hope
look really
that
good.
it's not gonna be. They're gonna be released before my spending embargo is lifted, but they are gorgeous. Maybe on resale in like a year or so's time, but they are cool.
They are. I love how they release Joy-Cons with like certain games like Splatoon and stuff like that. The controllers are so nice. I'm glad they're keeping up with hardware.
Me too. And it reminds me of the original, well, the kind of initial release when it had that kind of gold, like gold Wii
Yeah.
remote.
The
Yeah.
one thing I didn't like though was the Mario Switch. I think they've done such amazing things for like Breath of the Wild and things, and then the Mario Switch was just block colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of whack. I was tempted to get that, just for an unboxing video and decided against it.
I don't blame you. I feel like in the past year Nintendo's kind of been like low, quality. They haven't been working as hard as they used to. Like cuz the new games like Mario the 3-pack, they didn't really add much to it. They just took the game, bumped it up a little bit in resolution and released it. Like they didn't.
Yeah, that confused me, because I was very much on team Let's Defend 3D All Stars,
Yeah.
and I was disappointed that there was no booklet. There was no like, because obviously with like some of the special Wii games, you got like a different color, like box, and with this, it was like, okay, I can forgive all this. This is fine, because to me, I'm a bit of a, I don't know if I can say this, like a Super Mario Galaxy simp. Almost. Like
Yeah.
I would, if they would just release that in its own game and I had the money, I would buy that by itself because I love it. But then 3D World and Bowser's Fury came out and they included a steelbook with it, and it's like, well, surely if you're going to include a steelbook with something, it should be the kind of limited time cool release.
Yeah, and they okay, so like one thing that makes me more upset with that one or like the 3-pack game is they didn't even add the new features for like Mario 64 cuz on the 2DS, and that's why I'm saying this
Yes.
especially, they added multiplayer. Like how could you not add that? It's the easiest thing they could have added.
Oh, I wanted the new characters as well, like Luigi, Wario.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
But they didn't
Oh.
do that. They really missed the mark on some of the things that they released. And that's why I'm kind of scared for this up and coming E3.
Yeah, it's kind of. I'm worried that like it doesn't appear that they're listening to what people want.
Mm-hmm.
So even then, like on the topic of Animal Crossing Build-A-Bears, I don't know if you've got them, but like the representation with them is even below what it was meant to be. So there was 2 bears released. There was an Isabelle and a Tom Nook. And so many people were like, we've seen this too many times. Everything's just Isabelle and Tom Nook. I'm just going to go back to Etsy where I can actually get villagers and something a bit more unique.
Yeah, because you could just go online to buy that stuff. You don't have to go through Build-A-Bear.
Yeah. And Isabelle and Tom Nook were almost, I think a lot of people felt overdone. So then Build-A-Bear announced, like, 2 days later, the next thing we release, we've got a new character coming soon. So everyone's like, okay, so they're going to move away from the standard Isabelle and Tom Nook. Everyone was speculating. Like I said, it had been made really clearly on Twitter and things that people were like, you know what, if this is Isabelle and Tom Nook, I'm not doing it. Just for them then to release the next 2 is just a different variant of Isabelle and Tom Nook.
Oh, man.
It's then them in a winter outfit instead of the summer outfit. After people have been publicly tweeting, I'm not doing this. If it's just Isabelle and Tom Nook, I'm going back to Etsy. I'm going to get something with more variety. But it was almost like Build-A-Bear were ashamed because one thing that they did, they emailed people to say that the new bears were coming out, the winter variants. But we'd done a Twitter post about it before Build-A-Bear actually had, almost like they were dreading having to put this out because they knew it had been received so badly.
Yeah.
Which makes me think it could have been a Nintendo element, which is then like, this is all indicating, like, the recent Animal Crossing updates, this thing with Build-A-Bear, it is just all indicating that they aren't listening, which is then like, what do we expect? Can we look forward to anything? Are we supposed to assume that it's just going to be them acting on what they think is acceptable as opposed to what people actually want?
But they have listened in the past, right? Like when people were making petitions for more inclusive hairstyles, like they would then eventually release. So
Mm.
unless they were planning on just making different hairstyles later on, which is a possibility, like they have shown an ability to
Yeah.
listen to an extent.
But to that end, though, is that them exhibiting a level of
Oh,
correctness?
damage control.
Yeah, like, oh no, we didn't think that we needed to be more inclusive. Let's fix this quickly, as opposed to being like, this is what the people want. Is it more them protecting themselves? And that's why we're not seeing anything else that's been requested, or they're still working on mistakes. They're still like repeating mistakes that people have said that they don't want to see.
I mean, it isn't the most inclusive franchise, I'll say that. Like, I was kind of really disappointed and upset when we first got into the Animal Crossing craze and we went to, like, Mario Kart 8 and I tried to play as a villager and I tried to customize the skin and it doesn't let you play anything other than the kind of, like, white villagers. I was like, oh, okay. I'll
Yeah.
go back to I'll say that. I'll go back to Luigi then. But obviously, Luigi's not a representation. But I feel like with Animal Crossing, you kind of want to make your character look as much like you as possible.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that
that
completely.
was a bit disappointing.
And it's hard because, like, also with Metopia, they have like a few skin colors, but they don't have like in between the dark, like, light brown and dark brown. And I'm like right in between there, and I can't ever find my skin color. And it's like that kind of thing where they don't think about every opportunity for like including people. They don't go throughout the whole span. They just go to like, the, I guess, not really popular, but the most common, and they ignore all the in
Yeah,
between.
like the landmarks.
Yeah,
Really dark, little bit dark, not dark at all.
yeah. They just look for the common ones, and it kind of does feel not as inclusive. And I think Nintendo has a problem with that for sure, because you see it like in Mario Kart, for example. I agree with you completely on that one, and Smash Bros too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about. I thought you could play as different coloured villagers. I don't
I
know.
don't think so.
Maybe not. Oh gosh, I
think
haven't
the
tried
early
it.
villagers were just fixed as one skin tone.
Aw, that is a shame though, especially like because Mario Kart's so popular. I need to try that out on Smash Bros. Because
I don't remember
I think I'd probably
completely.
play as Isabelle to be honest.
Yeah, Isabelle's the better character. Her fishing hook is insane.
See, that makes me smile, like saying that Isabel's the better character, because I had the biggest hatred of Isabel for the longest time from the morning announcement. So, because it was my first game, I didn't know why people loved her. I didn't know why there was outrage that Isabel wasn't there from the start when we first got New Horizons. And like I said, I was just, to me, she was just this annoying thing that interrupted my gameplay for 3 minutes every time I wanted to go on first thing in the morning. Like, there was me there, like, this is my opportunity to beat Jaybee and get the fossils before he wakes up. And then she's like, haha, no, it's not. I'm going to talk to you till he wakes up. So it just took away from my time when I didn't really want it to. So I
Yeah.
just saw her as a huge inconvenience until, like, JB got me this Isabel cushion for, I want to say, Christmas. And it was just like the most beautiful thing in the world. Like, it's so soft and so comfy that I was like, okay, I like Isabel now. But honestly, people who had played the other games and were just like, I want Isabel. I
Mm-hmm.
never understood why. I just found her so annoying. Like, I think I liked her more after the fireworks, because she then got more involved in the island and started to give us DIYs for seasonal things. But just the morning announcements are an unnecessary evil.
Yeah. And she was more involved in the older games too. Not as much this one. And I think that's what they were pushing for this one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all the time that I really have. I have to go do things soon. But thank you guys very much for coming out. Is there anything you want to say before we end this?
And I guess apart from thank you so much for inviting us to this. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm actually very disappointed that like that's kind of the time now because I'm so engrossed in this. I'd love to
Yeah.
do this again at some
I would
point. Like
love
this
to
is the
do
most
another
fun I've had.
episode. with you
In
guys. You
terms
guys
of
are cool to
in
talk
terms of
to.
Animal Crossing for a while, like
This is the most like JB was just saying that this is the most positively I've thought about the game in a very long time.
Yeah.
legit, like oh, thank you.
It does bring a lot of good feelings, and it makes me want to be hopeful for the future. Talking to you guys especially, like it makes me like, oh, I see where you're coming from. That's a whole nother outlook that I never even considered. Like I'm excited now for the updates if they do update it. I will be disappointed if they don't. So Nintendo, don't fail me. But it was nice talking to you guys.
You too again. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Yeah, and for everybody watching this I guess pre-recorded podcast, remember to check out JB and Millie. I'm going to put their channel on the description. Make sure to get them to 2,000. We'll hope for the best here. They deserve all the subs. It was really fun having you guys. I will definitely have another episode with you guys. We'll talk about other games like Pokemon, because that one, I want to talk about that, because I know JB's very interested in that, and I know that Millie, you're getting interested into it, right?
Indeed, I had not played any Pokemon games before meeting JB, and he introduced me to Pokemon Sword as my first Pokemon game.
Yeah.
And there's been a whole journey through Vivid Voltage since then that was very detrimental to the bank account, but it was also very fun. So I'm certainly getting a lot more involved in Pokemon now.
Yeah.
Painful.
So we should do this more often. I love having you guys here.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for joining my podcast.
Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of, I don't know if it's day or evening, but whichever it is, enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy midnight or 1 in the morning probably now.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh, it's like 2 a.m.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Oh, our recording schedule is certainly something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Like I said before, guys, remember to go check them out. They're down below in the description. They were really cool to be able to join me. I love having them on here. It was a good talk about Animal Crossing. If you guys have any like questions or suggestions or anything, put them in the comments down below, and let me know what you guys are interested in seeing for the next Nintendo Direct. Thank you guys very much for coming. Have a really good night. Do not let the bedbugs bite, and have a great morning if it's morning. I'll see you guys in the next one.